Hey, so is it just me, or has the finals gotten way too competitive lately? I mean, I'm probably not the only one who feels like almost any time you hop into a quick cash match, there's at least 4 people acting like they have a $50,000 parlay riding on this. I lost. But seriously, what was once a chaotic fun game filled with quick laughs and wild plays, is now filled with that, plus ranked mode tryhards dominating the feed in almost every casual game mode that the finals has. But the main question I've been wondering is, why? Why does every match feel so exhausting? Why is everyone so competitive? And why is it all their fault? Well, stick around as we dissect exactly how the competitive scene has bled into the laid-back experience we all love, and what this could mean for the future of the finals. But before we get into that, I think it's only fair to explain the game's beginnings. Taking y'all back a couple of years to December 7th, 2023, Embark Studios, after 2 rounds of open betas, finally releases the finals across all 3 main selling platforms. Offering a unique FPS experience compared to other titles at the time, the finals gave the unique appeal of destructive environments and fast-paced combat, all while combining elements of realistic weapons, animations, and charm. Not to mention giving us the ability to swap, build, and customize loadouts mid-match to better suit many of the chaotic variables that each match may bring. Now, the original casual experience that players had in these early days came mostly from experimenting with builds, exploring the amazing game design, and having unpressured, unbiased fun, with the community posting popular clips displaying crazy game tech, insane plays, and funny moments. But as we progress through the seasons to late 2025, it seems as though the community shifted from that casual, laid-back mentality to something more competitively focused. But as I continue to reflect on some of my previous experiences, I did end up asking myself, was the finals ever a casual game to begin with? I mean, the game is quite literally a game show where people are thrusted into a digital world to fight for virtual fame and glory. But yet the appeal that the game used to have has shifted in a pretty large way from those humble beginnings. I mean, now it just seems as though the game's general feeling is so much more favored in the area of competitiveness that the casual fun that players once had is now overshadowed by meta builds, toxic players, and overall frustration in almost any match you queue into. And if you look me dead in the eyes and tell me you've never had someone ruin your match by complaining for over 10 minutes before rage quitting, then I know you're lying. But in any case, I believe a cause for the overall comp mentality of the game comes from what I've titled the bleed effect. Now, the bleed effect is a natural result for most multiplayer FPS titles out there. Similar to games like Call of Duty, Valorant, or Apex Legends, it's when competitive players trickle out of ranked modes and make their way into more casual areas, similar to modes like Quick Cash and World Tour, keeping their same mentality going into regular matches with the expectations of ranked skill and experience from their teammates, whether they're random or not. And this is something I find very odd in gaming as a whole. Because I mean, to have the immense disconnect to hop into a quick play mode and treat it like it's an esports tryout is just insane to me. I mean, if I'm loading up a casual match after working a 9 to 5, playing as Mooman, the Calcium Crusader, Destroyer of Lights, what made you think this was going to be a serious game by any means? And I want to pause on this so I can make something clear. Just because you like to play casually doesn't mean you get to be selfish and ruin the game for your teammates either. There's a major difference between fun for fun's sake and fun at others' cost. And I want to give a big shout out to Shino for pointing that out. But I digress. The name of the game itself is of course to play the game, get a limbs, and try to win any match you queue into. But why is it that some players feel the need to push beyond that, with them expecting players to switch up their own enjoyment to suit their competitive playstyle? It's just exhausting. And I know I'm not alone, because a good number of people share that same sentiment, feeling like the quote-unquote fun factor for the game is declining. This is because players who prefer a less stressful experience are starting to endure burnout, or even drop the game entirely, with some even going as far as to make entire Reddit posts listing their reasons why. And usually in one form or another, one of the main reasons all circle back to players and their competitive mindset. And I think that mindset overall is a double-edged sword. Because with it, the engagement of the game has become more heavily focused on making the little number become big number, even when those numbers don't really matter. And nothing really shows this off more than the YouTube trends. Where other games have a healthy mix of news, guides, and funny moments, the finals trends lean more toward the former. having top performing videos showcase overall information, guides, and tips to become a better overall player. Now let me just say that this isn't a bad thing, and that this isn't the mindset for every finals player or creator. I mean, major finals creators like JFJ make the game enjoyable to play by displaying the core roots of what the finals is all about. Having fun-fueled mayhem with friends, all while experiencing the most outlandish stuff the game has to offer. And shout out to him, by the way, because he was the one who got me into the game in the first place. But with that, it moves me on to the main reason why I wanted to make this video. Because with the substantial rise of mainstream content creators and streamers like Moist Critical finally seeing how good this game truly is, I'm fearful that the subsequent players who pick up the game for the first time will not stay long once the hype dies down. This is partly because of the high competitiveness the finals carries, as well as it lacking game modes that offer a more casual playing experience. I mean, modes like TDM and Power Shift are great examples of that. Quick one-off matches that don't really provide an area for over-the-top competitiveness, giving the players who load into them something similar to an arcade-style matchup with no real gains other than experience. Yet the game's main bread and butter feels rather stunted, with me dropping into a match with the expectations of casual tomfoolery with the boys, only to have us turn serious and Instant Alight gets a little too happy with trolling everyone with a double barrel. And you know exactly who you are, and I will destroy you. But I mean, maybe if we had more solid game modes to run casually like heavy hitters for a more long-term duration, then maybe it could improve the game further in the future? I don't know, y'all. I feel like I might be the odd man out on this one. Because when I posted a similar question about this a while back, I received a comment that made a pretty good point, saying the game is definitely sweaty, but so is every other game out there. And that's true. But yet, unlike those other games, I feel like for the finals, that's all it really has going for it. However, to answer the main question of the video, does competitive play ruin the finals? No. At least, not yet. Because despite the overall feelings this game brings, I still feel like the game has many different areas and aspects that make the game immensely fun to play overall. And despite its flaws, it's still improving and becoming greater due to the amazing community and Embark's active development team. However, if it does continue to follow that competitive mindset, I fear that it could become a game that can easily fade away into irrelevance, almost similarly to how Apex Legends did back in early 2023. With the game providing almost no new content, smurfing and cheating, all on top of having a high skill cap that can absolutely devastate newer players coming into the game. But going back to the finals, with Embark being a non-AAA game studio, that failure could cripple their company in more ways than any other established mainstream studios. But that's not to say there's no hope, because I believe that it can excel due to their unique world, mechanics, and team. But my experience and opinion alone is not the overall perspective. So I want to hear more from y'all. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the game is still casual? Do you think ranked is a problem? Or am I just washed? Either way, I want to know y'all's opinions and experiences with the game. So comment down below and let me know what y'all think. And with that being said, subscribe if you vibe. Lights are the worst, and if y'all don't mind, I gotta go gamble some more.